Hello, good evening. Thank you for joining us. The headlines in East Yorkshire and Lincolnshire this Monday night. Cancelled because of the weather forecast. Lincoln's Christmas market traders say it was an overreaction.
All the stallholders should have been told at £5:30 because then we would not have restocked our urns. We had to chuck it all away, £6,000 worth of glue vinyl.
But organisers say it was the right decision.
Based on the information, 10 centimetres of snow and predictions that the highways wouldn't cope, then yes, we made that decision and we stand by that decision.
Also tonight, a promise by the police to name and shame anyone caught drink driving in Lincolnshire. The campaign to open sheds and garages to give homeless people a night off the streets.
There's 42 of us on the streets and not even half as many beds. So by the time you get there, they're full.
And why some of the best pictures of Hull have been turned into Beermats.
Another very cold night in prospect. The Met Office have got a warning of widespread ice. Join me for that week ahead forecast.
Good evening. They always knew it was a gamble, cancelling the biggest event in Lincoln's calendar because of the risk of heavy snow. In reality, when the snow came, it was a light dusting. And today, the officials who decided to call off the final day of the Christmas market have been accused by one trader of making the city a laughingstock. For their part, the City Council says it was absolutely the right decision. Jake Zuckerman has the story and the reaction.
This morning in Castle Square, the last stalls were being dismantled, while traders counted the cost of the cancellation of the final day of Lincoln's Christmas market.
We had to chuck it all away, £6,000 worth of glue vinyl on the for sales, which is going to have a massive impact on the donations we can make to charities throughout this next year. Yes, it was a difficult decision, but there's in many levels it was wrong. Maybe they could have waited till Sunday morning. I mean, yesterday, a lot of locals could have come.
On Saturday afternoon, this is what the forecast for Sunday looked like.
We have got an amber warning affecting areas in the far west of the region. Here we could see 10 centimetres of snow quite widely.
Sunday arrived, but that heavy snow didn't. By then, though, the decision to cancel the market had already been made.
I think it's health and safety gone wrong.
It's not too dangerous at the moment. We've just walked up the hill quite happily.
I mean, it's ridiculous. There's barely any snow, and they cancelled it on the chance that there might be some.
For these stallholders who'd come all the way from Hungary, it was rather perplexing.
In my country, we get like 30 centimetres of snow, and the life is not bad, like there's still cars are going.
The cancellation has made Lincoln the target for ridicule in some quarters.
So a Christmas market where if there isn't real snow, they have fake snow to make it look like real snow, just on the threat of real snow coming to a Christmas market, got cancelled. What is happening to this country?
Last year, over the 4 days of the event, more than 250,000 people visited the market. In 2015, it was calculated that the average visitor spent nearly £60. And it was estimated that the economic benefit to the city in 2015 was just under £2.7 million. It's not just stallholders. Many local businesses rely on the market and were left with stock they couldn't sell.
We did an offer on food yesterday just to try and cheer the people, and obviously because we've been cooked a lot of food off for the Sunday.
But organisers are standing by their decision. Traders and stallholders have been considering the economic impact of the council's decision, and some say they'd like to see the council offer compensation for the loss of trade, whilst others are more concerned about the damage to the reputation of Lincoln's Christmas market and that it might put off visitors in the future. Jake Zuckerman, BBC Look North, Lincoln.
And of course you can have your say on this one in just a moment. But this afternoon I put some of the concerns highlighted in Jake's report to Simon Walters from Lincoln City Council, who was one of the event commanders. Mr. Walters, was this decision on the market with hindsight the wrong one?
No, based on the information we received from a whole range of agencies, including the police, the Highways Authority at the County Council, the information from the Met Office, we were anticipating 10 centimetres of snow across Lincoln, and on that basis it would have been extremely dangerous to travel. Therefore we had to make a decision based on that and the information that was do not travel. All the blue light services were saying and issuing notices saying do not travel.
Let me read you one of many emails today from Pete Mason from North Hykeham. What an embarrassingly deplorable decision by the City Council. A shamefully abject standard of decision-making, judgment and leadership. What do you say to Mr Mason and many other people like him?
I would say, based on the fact that we had reports of 10 centimetres of snow due to hit the Lincoln Christmas market in the early hours of the morning, and the Highways Agency telling us they would struggle to cope with the conditions, then we had no alternative but to close the Christmas market for the last day of trading.
Mr.
We
Walters,
had 3 great days on the Christmas market.
Yeah, you might have had 3 great days. You could have had 4. Birmingham and Bath both had snow. They both had Christmas markets. They were open yesterday. So they were being irresponsible, were they?
No, what I'm saying is, based on the information we had, the Christmas market was not viable for the last day. We had the blue light services all saying do not travel unless it's an emergency because the roads are anticipated to be too dangerous. We are anticipating 70 coaches and 60,000 visitors on the Sunday. We couldn't put that pressure on the network.
What do you say to the traders tonight? Leave aside the visitors who are disappointed. What do you say to the traders who've lost 25% of their takings? They're obviously going to want compensation.
It was a really difficult decision we had to take. It wasn't taken lightly. We are very sympathetic to the situation they're in. Hopefully they did get 3 days great trading. We make it really clear to all the traders when they take a booking with us, this is an open air event in December, and we advise them strongly to get insurance to cover things such as cancellation of days due to adverse weather.
What so many people are saying at the moment is, why are we so soft and lily-livered in this country at the moment, not trusting people to use their own common sense to decide whether to travel or not? You close this market down. What about people who live in Lincoln? They still could have gone along and had a day out and not even got in a car. They could have walked there.
Yeah, an event of this size and scale, it draws people in from the whole region. So we get people from the West Midlands, from Yorkshire. If we'd have said we are still running the Christmas market on the Sunday against a backdrop of the emergency services saying do not travel unless it's an emergency, we would have had people coming. If that snow had hit later in the day, we could have had thousands of people here in the city stranded, not able to get home. So we had to take the sensible decision based on the information available, which was do not travel.
And let me just clarify. You think that decision, even with hindsight, even the fact that you didn't get any snow, it was the right decision?
I would hope people would judge us based on the information we had to hand at the time we had to make the decision. We left that decision right to the very latest time we possibly could, and based on the information, 10 centimetres of snow and predictions that the highways wouldn't cope, then yes, we made that decision and we stand by that decision, and I would hope that the public and your viewers would understand that decision and why we took it.
OK, well, Mr Walters, very good to have you on the programme tonight. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you, Peter.
There we are, Simon Waters from Lincoln City Council, who made the decision. Well, what do you think? You've heard the reasons for calling off the Christmas market yesterday. Do you think the council made the right decision in the circumstances, or were they too hasty? You might have a view on this one. If you have, if you want to be in touch, the email address is there, looknorth@bbc.co.uk, text number 81333. As always, start the text with the word Look North and it will come straight to me. Or, of course, follow me on Twitter, Peter_Levy tweet. Now, also, maybe if you were planning to visit and were disappointed, or maybe a trader, let us know what you think. People in Grimsby and Cleethorpes are being asked to open up their spare rooms, garages or even sheds to help rough sleepers over the Christmas period. The campaign is being led by Stephen Allenby, who used to sleep rough. He says that the number of homeless people has increased dramatically in the last few months and that the local shelters can't cope. Sarah Walton has this report.
Temperatures overnight are now below freezing, but Anthony has been homeless for months and says he struggled to get a place in a shelter.
There's 42 of us on the streets and not even half as many beds. So by the time you get there, they're full.
Stephen Allenby was filming a documentary about Grimsby and Cleethorpes when he noticed a big increase in the numbers of homeless, and he's made it his mission to find them somewhere to stay away from the streets.
If people can help and I can introduce them, build up some trust, and they just stay in a garage so that it's just a couple of degrees warmer for them, you know, while they're waiting to try and get processed in the system.
And some people have already come forward. Dan has had several people to stay, sleeping on the floor of his flat.
When one of them woke up for the first time and said that was the first good night's sleep I've had in about 10 years. And I was like, that's why I do this.
At the moment, he's opened up his home to Andy, who's been homeless for 20 years. And Andy says it means more to him than just having somewhere warm to stay.
Being trapped like a human being is... I mean, people pass you in the street and they sort of look and you've got an opinion in their mind, whatever, and they live out that opinion and they treat you accordingly. So they never get to know you as a person, they never get past that.
North East Lincolnshire Council estimates there are 22 homeless people in its area. But those that work with vulnerable communities think that figure is actually much higher. And they say there aren't enough beds in homeless shelters for all those currently on the streets here. And because of that, many say they'll take any offer of help.
A shed and a garage is not much, but to someone that's out in the actual cold, a garage or a shed with a roof on is a hell of a big difference. A hell of a big difference.
The council says a count is a snapshot of the number of rough sleepers in any given area on a particular night, and it will not therefore record everyone in the area with a history of rough sleeping. We have a severe emergency weather protocol to provide shelter for rough sleepers when the forecast is for freezing temperatures. They want the homeless to first approach professional organisations for help. But Stephen says he'll work with anyone who can offer people a safe place off the streets over Christmas. Sarah Walton, BBC Look North.
Interesting one, Sarah, thank you. Another one you might want to comment on. Would you, for the rough sleepers, open up a spare room, a garage or a shed in your property? If you want to comment on that, you can. BAE Systems believes that Qatar signing a contract to buy aircraft made in Lancashire is an encouraging sign for the company's East Yorkshire factory. Qatar has also stated its intent to buy Hawk aircraft made at Brough, where 400 jobs are due to go. That deal's still not signed, but it would keep some staff in their jobs for another 12 months.
It's great news because people had their lives on hold and now they can enjoy a Christmas now and just take stock of what we need to do moving forward. So it's fantastic news for everybody. And when I heard the news early this morning, I just had to sit down and just relax because there was a tear or two. It's fantastic news for us all.
Motorists who are charged with drink driving offences in Lincolnshire over the Christmas period will be named and shamed by the police. The warning comes as new figures show that the county sees the most drivers charged for drink driving per head of population in the entire country. Officers say that anyone caught driving while under the influence of drugs will also be named. Simon Spark has this.
This is the type of situation police have to deal with because of drink drivers. This incident happened in 2015. The Ford van driver was charged with drink driving and causing serious injury. But this year, Lincolnshire Police will be doing something else in their drink and drug driving campaign, naming those who are caught.
Well, this isn't particularly about shaming the drivers, although we do recognise that's the way that often drivers will feel, but it's about trying to prevent them, making people think twice about it. It's prompted a lot of discussion and I think it's an appropriate step in this case. It's a serious offence and has a significant impact on offenders.
Figures show Lincolnshire Police charges the most people for drink driving per population. 1,035 motorists were charged over a 12-month period. That's the equivalent of 14 people out of every 10,000. The campaign of naming and shaming will run from the 18th of December until early in the new year. But you'd be named and shamed at the point of being charged, not when being found guilty by the court. And so that's brought a mixed response from the people here in Boston.
They're going to get prosecuted, as well as getting named and shamed. That's good, because I think they should be. You know, I think you shouldn't drive, drink and drive.
It's good, yeah, that they are like charging person, yeah, taking away the driver's license or everything, yeah, but not shame in front of everybody or something like that. It's too far.
Some degrees, yes, it depends on what they've done, but then in other times, no, because like you've got some people that can just be a little bit over the limit, and it's a bit unfair.
Lincolnshire Police may top the chart when it comes to catching drink drivers, but they don't necessarily see that as a good thing. And members of Parliament say it's now their job to get the education message out there that it will not be tolerated. Simon Spark, BBC Look North.
Yes, naming and shaming drink drivers in Lincolnshire. The time is 16 minutes to 7 o'clock this Monday night here on BBC One. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your company. Still ahead on the programme before 7. The puppy abandoned on a Greek island, given a new home in East Yorkshire. And a dream start for Hull City's new head coach as the Tigers get back to winning ways. As you may or may not know, Bridlington has a brand new lifeboat. I'm yet to see it, but looking forward to it. Here it is on exercise with the Coast Guard helicopter off Flamborough Head. Great picture, and it was taken by Alan Walkington. Alan, thank you very much indeed for that. Another picture tomorrow night, round about the same time. Now, this is the time of the year, of course.
Peter.
No, nothing to do. Oh, well, I was going to speak to you. I was going to say this is the time of year when you earn your money. Not that anything could possibly go wrong, could it?
Well, I've spent my money on a bulletproof vest this weekend. Shall we get straight on with
We'll
the
be
details?
watching every and listening to every single word.
Oh,
you won't
I'm
get away.
sure you're taking great delight in this.
I'm going to enjoy every single second.
Let's have a look at the accurate forecast tonight, and we start with a warning, a Met Office warning for fairly widespread ice, which we are expecting once again as temperatures, which are currently at or below freezing, drop even further. Tomorrow then sunny and very cold. And then we look to the west because there is less cold air on the way behind this weather front that will bring showery conditions from Wednesday through to Friday. It's not mild air, but it is less cold with it, as I say, coming in from the west. So a bit of a respite from the cold. Now, we are expecting a number of wintry showers to push in from the North Sea, both this evening and overnight, becoming confined again to the coast, I think, by the end of the night. But watch out for icy stretches. Could be a little bit of patchy freezing fog in the west. Lowest temperatures -3 to -5 in countryside areas. -5 is 23 degrees Fahrenheit. So the sun rises in the morning around about 8:10. Your next high water time, Hull Victoria Dock. There we are, look, at 1 a.m. in the early hours of the morning. So just a chance of 1 or 2 wintry showers along the coast first thing. Otherwise, bit of freezing fog or widespread frost. But lots of blue sky, I think, to come tomorrow. Lots of sunshine. And it looks like it is going to be dry with just some patchy rain spreading in from the west, but not until tomorrow night. Now, let's have a look at the temperatures. It is going to feel cold, especially when you factor in the fact there will be a freshening southwesterly wind tomorrow afternoon. So highs of just 2 Celsius, that is just 36 Fahrenheit. So Wednesday through to Friday looks unsettled, often breezy, a little less cold, with a risk of showers on all 3 days. Peter, that's the forecast tonight.
Dave Dixon is in Horncastle. He says Paul's accurate forecast is a bit like Eric Morecambe's piano playing. They're all the right forecasts, but not necessarily.
That's quite funny, actually. That makes a change, doesn't it?
Yes, just like your forecast.
All right, move on.
I bet you were glad it was Abby that was in the clip and not you.
Yeah, great, that wasn't it. I must write the rota more often.
You dodged a bullet there. See you tomorrow.
Okay.
Now, a couple from East Yorkshire say that a puppy that had been left for dead changed its life and theirs when it barked at them. Maureen and Gavin Webb were on a 12-mile walk on holiday in Crete when they discovered the young dog who was starving and astray. 6 months later, Lucy is enjoying a new life in Yorkshire. Jill Archbold has this.
I don't think anybody could have looked at that skeleton and not been moved.
She was probably 24 hours, 48 tops away from dead.
And we said, we can't leave it here. It's called out to us. We can't leave it. And we came down here.
Maureen and Gavin Webb were walking in Crete when they found a stray puppy, timid, skeletal and desperate for water.
Whether you're a dog lover or not, you can't bear to see suffering like that. And we couldn't leave it, you know. It had called out to us and it changed its stars.
The stray dog became one of the hundreds taken to the island's Uvers Animal Sanctuary.
She had already decided to sort of trust us a bit, and she was quite distressed when we passed her to somebody else, although we went back every day to see her and feed her for the rest of our holiday.
Now, the puppy she once carried in her arms in 30-degree heat lives at home with Maureen and Gavin in East Yorkshire.
It was a no-brainer. We didn't even have to think about it. We just decided, yes, Lucy comes home with us.
Lucy's new life in Yorkshire means daily walks and homemade dog food.
She's very, very wary of people, strange situations. She's got a lot of catching up to do. She's getting affectionate with us and with the dogs as well, so she's learning to be a dog.
I don't believe in coincidence. I think everything happens for a reason. I don't know what the reason is yet that we ended up with Lucy, but I'm sure in the fullness of time it will come clear.
There's little evidence she was once an abandoned dog, just a small stump where her tail was twisted and damaged. And 1 month since arriving from Crete, Lucy's had no trouble making herself at home. Jill Archbold, BBC Look North, Foggerthorpe, near Howden.
Hull's new state-of-the-art venue and complex. The venue is a step closer to opening today. Construction work on the outside of the building has now been largely completed ahead of a grand opening next year. It's hoped that the centre will play an important role in creating a cultural legacy from Hull 2017.
It will be very much a part of the legacy of 2017. Let's not forget we are City of Culture until Coventry take over in 2021. So we'll have 3 years of operation at this venue whilst we're still City of Culture.
So looking forward to seeing the inside of that. Now, there was a winning start for Nigel Adkins as the new head coach of Hull City. In a high-scoring game at the weekend, they now face 3 matches against opponents all going for promotion. Our sports reporter Simon Clark is here. What has the new man been saying then?
Well, as we know from his Scunthorpe United days, Peter, he is an upbeat personality, so he had every reason to smile after the win. Whether he'll be smiling at the end of December after some difficult fixtures, we'll have to wait and see. But it all started so well at the KCOM for Nigel Adkins. He's been out of the game for 18 months, but here was a refreshed Nigel Adkins in amber and black. Taking over from Leonard Slutsky, he saw some of the frailties of the team capped by this bizarre own goal. But what followed must have heartened him. A splendid equaliser from Kamil Grzycki. A sweetly hit free kick from Seb Larsson. And this beauty, a first goal from Jackson Irvine. Still time for the regulation late concession, but the Tigers held on for a win.
It's our football club. You know, when I've gone, the owners have gone, it'll still be the supporters' football club. So we've all just got to keep working hard to... Everyone's got an opinion, but it's all got to be for the good of the football club. And I think we've started in the right manner. I think that's important. And we've just got to keep being positive moving forward.
I think once he gets the team gelling together more, you know, I think they were working individually a bit too much before.
He had the players playing. Under the last manager, they just seemed to not have any get up and go.
Coming up for the Tigers, games against promotion-chasing Cardiff City and Derby County, sandwiching the Yorkshire Derby with Leeds. Adkins' old club Scunthorpe United fell to this deflected goal against Walsall in League One, while in League Two, the Irons' neighbours Lincoln City have reached the playoff zone with this win at Yeovil Town. The Mats on target, Greenwood the first and Reed the second. Just a point behind the Imps is Grimsby Town, whose Mitch Rose followed in Sam Jones's penalty miss for a 1-0 win over Forest Green Rovers. And on to motorsport, where Lincolnshire driver Jack Harvey, that's him there, will again compete in the famous Indianapolis 500 motor race in America next year. Jack made his debut in the race this year and will race in at least 4 IndyCar races next year for Michael Shank Racing. And Cleethorpes sprinter Zach Shaw has earned selection for the England team at the Commonwealth Games. The partially sighted sprinter will compete in the T12 100 metres. The games on Australia's Gold Coast take place in April. Hull FC will host neighbours Hull KR in the annual Clive Sullivan pre-season game in January. Part of the proceeds will go to Hull's Danny Houghton, who is enjoying his testimonial year with the Black and Whites, and that was some tackle. And that's it for me. Teacher, just to say that was a game yesterday, Hull City Ladies against Newcastle United in the FA Women's Plate. They won 1-0 and they're into the quarter-finals, so we wish them well.
Brilliant stuff, indeed we do. Simon, thank you very much indeed. Now, one of Britain's top photographers has chosen his favourite pictures of Hull, not taken by him, but by local amateurs. The pictures won't appear in frames, but on Beermats in the city. Our culture correspondent Anne-Marie Tasker has this.
City of Culture has brought great art to Hull, from the Turner Prize to Britain's top photographers. But this festive season, you can look at great pictures in the pub. Photos of Hull and East Yorkshire, taken by amateurs, have been printed on beer mats. Jane Selby took this one of her son on her mobile phone and was astounded to hear she was the winning entry.
Strange, but also just really nice. It's nice to have a picture that I've taken that somebody else has decided they like as well and selected it, and it's here on a beer mat. It's really quite unusual. It's overwhelming.
And Jane's picture was judged by a real expert, world-renowned photographer Martin Parr. He picked his 16 favourites from thousands of online entries, now being appreciated by the pub-going public.
I think them being brought here makes a difference. I don't think we're not the sort to go into galleries.
I'm sure there are lots of people who prefer to be at the pub rather than the gallery, in which case at least you won't miss it.
They definitely would start a conversation while you're having a beer.
The 16 different beer mats are now on bars and tables across the city, giving you the chance to raise a glass to culture this festive season. Anne-Marie Tasker, BBC Look North, Hull.
5 to 7, a reminder of the headlines from the BBC this Monday night. Snow, ice and plunging temperatures have caused major disruption across swathes of the country. The organisers of Lincoln's Christmas market say they stand by their decision to cancel tomorrow's weather, a frosty start with freezing fog patches clearing slowly, then dry and sunny periods, top temperatures at best in the afternoon, just 2 Celsius. Response on the subject to the Christmas market, then surely the coach companies can make their own assessment as to whether it's safe to drive. A nanny state with people overreacting, says Ray, who's in Lincoln. This is from Chris, says, poor decision, but if they hadn't cancelled and the snow was bad, that would have been wrong too. They really couldn't win. Another one here from Simone says, poor traders, a stunt like this would have killed my business. A complete knee-jerk reaction, a generalised weather forecast. It is ridiculous. Graham and Jill say, we can make our own sensible decisions about what is too dangerous to attend. Lincoln Council and the police are overreacting, disappointed and disgusted. Thank you very much indeed. There's a lot coming in. And for watching, see you later if you can join me at 10:30. Bye for now.